be a very casual environment, although I'm sure people will have lots of questions. If you could save them until the end, we'll allow time for that. Basically, with everything that we're going to be talking about, we could probably talk for an hour or more on every single topic. So we're giving you a whole bunch of information about a whole bunch of different things. In the overview, basically, we're going to talk about the criminal code in relation to, basically it's luring internet criminal code offenses. That's what we're focusing on from the criminal code. College policy, we're going to talk about Fanshawe College, how discipline works on campus, and what types of things I've investigated on campus thus far, just to educate you about the things that are happening in the college community. We're going to talk about social networking, which I'm sure everybody in this room has heard of social networking in some way, shape, or form. Prevention, risks, and resources. So basically what we want you to leave with is more information about what's happening online, how to prevent yourself from becoming a victim, and we're going to give you the tools, or the best tools, for you personally, for you to share with family members, colleagues, if people have children in the room. Like, all of these resources are really good resources, and we want you to share them. Resources in the room. I'll talk about that now. I did print some off. I'll go into more detail about what resources are the best in Canada and the ones that we utilize the most when we're educating people. But I did print off some copies from Microsoft Cyber Tips. There's also an information guide for Fanshawe College and where to seek help, counseling services, and those types of things. In case you are a victim or you know someone who's been victimized, you can share the resource information with people about campus services that we offer. My business card and Michelle's business card are also on the table, so we're an email away. If you have questions for us, then we're available to you for that. So I think it's important to talk about the definition of luring. I think that, and me personally, one of my favorite TV shows, I was talking to someone earlier, is Criminal Minds. So you think about luring, you think about this dirty old man with great big glasses, and he's greasy, and he's low income, and he lures children. So I don't know if everybody else has that sort of stereotype, but the media sort of depicts that that's what a predator looks like. And we'll go through and talk to you, and that's not always the case or the truth. But just so you know, that luring, something that tempts or attracts with the promise of pleasure or reward, an attraction or appeal, to attract by wiles or temptation, to entice, and some of the synonyms are lure, entice, decoy, tempt, seduce. So think about this even in your personal situations. I think of things that I've investigated on campus where a bunch of people go downtown to the bars, they meet up with a bunch of other people, you just met that night, and people are using tactics to get you out of that situation or get you away from your friends, and then a crime occurs, you're victimized, whether that's a sexual assault or you're robbed. That's luring as well, like face-to-face contact. It doesn't actually have to be MSN or Facebook that puts you in a precarious situation. So I just want that to be clear. Everything that we're talking about, it's all going to tie in together and make sense at the end. So basically, anybody that can potentially take advantage of you, be a perpetrator and you're the victim, that is luring. So Michelle's going to go into detail about the law and the most specific things that we deal with on a daily basis.
Basically, if it's a crime in the real world, it's a crime on the internet. And that's what people are not very aware of, and youth that have grown up with the internet and computers from minute one. I'm going to date myself here, I did not. So they don't realize that we are on top of that, and you can be charged for things that you say and do online. So hacking into people's accounts, taking their passwords and that's a criminal offense. Criminal harassment, so stalking somebody online, sending them messages, Facebooking them, MSN, emailing them, and they tell you to stop and you don't, you're harassing them. And when that harassment gets to the point that they are fearful for their safety and for themselves, you've committed a crime, and if they come to us, you are going to find yourself in trouble with the law. So it's really important to watch what you do, and if you're not going to do it in person, you certainly don't want to do it online either. You need to know as well, if you're videotaping something, there's all the parties that go on, the craziness that happens. It's a fun time, but it's also a time where if you're videotaping somebody that's doing something and then you post it, you can be find yourself in trouble for doing that as well. We've just had a situation in our area where a young girl was videotaped doing some sexual favors for her boyfriend. She didn't realize he was videotaping her. They break up, he posts that, he's now being charged. Okay, that's voyeurism. She did not consent to that. You have to make sure what you're doing with people, what you're videotaping, you have consent from that person. If they're impaired, drugs, alcohol, there's no consent able to be given. So you need to be aware of that. Threatening people. You're not going to go up and say to somebody, I'm going to kill you, right? That's a threat. That's a no-brainer. If you go and type it, it's the exact same thing. Okay? So it's just those little things that people need to remember. And we do have way too many people doing it and saying, well, I didn't realize, I didn't know. You have to know. If you want to successfully use a computer and be successful in that, you need to know these things that are happening. Personation, putting yourself out there as somebody else, putting yourself out there as a police officer, somebody that you're not. Again, against the law. And is it easy to do online? For sure it is. You know, you're faceless when you're at that screen. So just really think. You guys are at a point where you're looking at going somewhere. You're thinking about your career, what you want to do. These are things that can come back and haunt you if you don't use the internet and you don't use your computer appropriately. Employers are looking at that. They're searching. They're getting us to search. Criminal record checks show a lot. Okay, so you really, really need to be aware of what you're doing and what you're posting, because once it's out there, it's there for good.
I've had a couple of situations. One of them, the defamatory libel, it's kind of it's a crime that you don't see that often. But if you, let's say you write a story, you dislike someone, you write a story, you submit it to the interrobang on campus, and it's saying so-and-so's a slut and a whore and she gives blowjobs or whatever is happening. You write this story, it goes to the paper, it doesn't have to be actually put out or published in the paper. You committed the offense because you're being slanderous about someone. So that's a criminal offense, and we all know that those things are happening. I've had people come forward to me because they drank a lot of alcohol. A whole bunch of guys had their cameras out, and they're saying, show us your boobs, show us your boobs. Okay, sounds like a good idea at the time. Show the boobs, and then in the morning, oh crap, are they all over Facebook? Well, I know the most recent situation with that is you get a hold of these guys, and luckily it wasn't on Facebook, because that's your career, that's a whole group. I think there's about 12 guys who participated in that. So you're done at college, you're done, because the school doesn't tolerate that. So these types of things are happening. I'm sure a lot of people are aware. Maybe there's some in the room that aren't aware that those things happen. But if you think about Fanshawe College, and we have, I think, 15,000 students here, I don't know how many thousand staff, my town doesn't have that many people. So we're going to have the same issues on this campus as we do externally. And I think people come to college or university and they're a bit naive to that, and they think that those things aren't going to happen here. I mean, we're very educated, intelligent people, but we still put ourselves in situations where we are victimized, whether well, those things are happening. We do have victims on campus.
And pornography is huge with us as being an investigative area. Child pornography, unfortunately, is rampant within our society. And you have to understand, when we say child pornography, we're not just talking about the little children. 12, 13, 14-year-olds. It's child pornography as well if photos are being taken or videos are being taken of them in sexually compromising situations. So a lot of parties that you're at, there's going to be kids there that are extremely underage, right? And when the alcohol and drugs are flowing and people are doing things that they certainly wouldn't do if they were sober, That's where we get into these situations of photographs being taken and videos being taken of underage, and then as soon as you send that and share that with somebody, you're in possession of child pornography and you're distributing it. So it's really, really important to know the people you're with. Know more than just their first name.
Your age is under 18. So if you're 17 years old, which a lot of people on campus are 17 years of age, and you take a picture of that person, then, and you have that possession of that, and you have compromising positions on your phone of that person, then yeah, and wouldn't you like to have your name put on, you think that it's funny, and have your name put on the sex offender registry for a funny party on a Friday night? It's not good.
So we have